Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. This is Rob, and I'm at my studio, X Music Studios in Los Angeles, California. And we're here today to continue with my web series, Anatomy of a Mix. This is volume 2. And today we're going to be doing supplemental kick drums and snare drums to add to the existing tracks. And I'm going to be showing you how I do parallel compression and some other send effects that I use on the snare drum. Once again, the band is The Few, and the song is The Reason Why, and we are working in Steinberg's Nuendo10.3, but this is completely applicable to whatever DAW you want to use. Very straightforward kind of stuff. I hope you enjoy. So we have our drum tracks here kind of all grouped out and just line level panned, no EQ, no effects or anything like that yet. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to raise the amplitude, I'm going to raise the volume a little bit on this inside kick drum track. Say add a couple of dB there, 3 should do it. And then I'm going to double click and open up the sample editor. And from there I'm going to go and open up the hit points menu on the left hand side, and then go to edit hit points, and then go in and edit the threshold so it just catches all of the transients of the kick drums and nothing but that. So it automatically grabs everything pretty well at the first shot. I'll probably have to go through here and edit these one by one, but it's pretty close on all of the kick hits. I'm going to hit select all and create MIDI notes. I'm going to set it to be C1 because that's what key on my drum machine will have the kick sample that I'm looking for. I'm going to hit OK. So now it should have created a MIDI file of the kick drum pattern. I'm going to go ahead and slide that underneath my kick drum here. And I'm going to repeat the process with the snare drum. Go to hit points, edit the hit points, select the threshold, just go around and make sure that everything looks like it's pretty good. I'm going to create MIDI notes, and this is going to be on D1 where my snare drum is in the drum machine, and press OK. And so now they're both sitting on the same track. Let me add a second MIDI track here and call it snare. So next step, I'm going to open up the Groove Agent SE, and in there I've created just some generic drum kits with some of my favorite samples in them. Here, Rob Hill Rock Kit. How about that? Original, right? Interesting samples, these. Pretty girthy, pretty good sample collection. Let me go ahead and label these. Kick sample, snare sample. And select them to my Groove Agent. So it's already brought the drums to life quite a bit. So here's without. So, and these are just MIDI files now. So if I wanted to add a series of different snare sounds or different kick sounds, I could just duplicate these tracks, and I'll probably do that in a bit, and use a second set of samples to add into the girth of these drum sounds. So next up, what I'll do is I'm going to add a multi-band compressor, add an effects track, use the multi-band compressor, add track, and I have some presets in here for my parallel drum compressor. 5 dB of gain there, flat there, 7 dB on the mids, and 3.5 on the highs. And so I'm going to just go ahead and start sending these. Here's my kick drum channel. Just going to go ahead and start using full signal to this multi-band compressor that I just opened up. Overheads. Another thing that I like to do on the multi-band compressor is on that same channel I'll add a reverb, and I'm going to use the Waves reverb, and because it has a nice gate on it, and I'm going to use gated number 2 from the gates preset, and I'm going to turn the wet dry mix down to like 10% on that. And there we go. So now I've just sent through the effects sends on each of the group channels, I sent my multi-band compressor, and you'll hear a pretty huge difference now. So it just adds some punchiness, some clarity, and the reverb actually just gives it that little bit of sparkle that I like to have on. I'm going to add a little bit of my sample tracks too. A little bit of the kick drum. We'll send it to the multi-band compressor. And the snare drum. So once again, with the parallel compression in and without. With the sample kick and snare in, with the sample kick and snare out. So you see these just couple of minor changes that I did here, and just a series of a couple of minutes work. The entire nature of the drum track has changed. And it's not just a volume issue. There's a lot of things that are going on there. Another fun thing that I like to do on a send channel for drums is I'll add another effects track, and I'm going to make it a mono, and I'm going to do that tube, the tube distortion plugin that comes with Nuendo. I know that it comes on the channel strip, but I actually prefer the standalone plugin, and I just drive it all the way to 100%. And then on the back end of that, I will add the magneto tape compression plugin and just grind that all the way up too, and grind the saturation up on it. Reduce the volume way down, and then send my snare track to the distortion. And it helps add like some body and some attack, and just adds a flavor to getting your snare to cut, either low end or high end, depending on how you EQ it. So if I just wanted to add some body to the snare drum, add some 200 Hertz to the send effect of the tube and the magneto plugin. Helps to get it to cut a little bit. So there you have it. Like 10 minutes worth of work, and the drums are pretty cracking already. I mean, this is just some really rough moves, but it's just to get a basis of where we're going to build everything around this rock tune with, you know, just a little bit of sparkle and shine on the drums. Adding a kick sample, adding a snare sample, adding parallel compression, and adding distortion to the snare track. And once again, here it is without. Kind of wimpy. Add in the samples. Add in distortion on the snare drum. Add in the parallel multi-band compressor with the reverb on the back end. So I hope that this helped you a little bit and giving you some ideas to mix some rock drum stuff. And if you have different or better ways to do it, please feel free to comment. Let me know how you're doing it and how I'm maybe missing the boat. I'd really appreciate that. If you like what you're seeing here, go ahead and hit subscribe. And I'm going to produce a few of these videos. All right, take care. And thanks for watching, as always.